Hello, welcome to the video. I'm Melissa, I write books. Guess how much we have left of this whole stinking book? Oh, it actually looks like more now that I look at it. This is all we have left. Should I show you what we've done to give you some comparison? This is how much we've done. And this is how much we have left. I'm on page 176 out of 216. There was a delusional part of me that thought I could finish all of that today. And maybe, hopefully, I finish this whole stinking line edit in this video in the next few days. I have the whole evening. It's about 5 o'clock right now. I have the whole evening to, if you know what I mean. I'm gonna not write at the coffee shop today. Are you impressed? In the last video, I kind of redid my office setup, and I have to admit it is working. I am feeling motivated. We are in Act 3. We're right at the Dark Night of the Soul, and I'm pretty sure I have edited through this the most recently, and so I'm feeling like it's maybe gonna be okay. So the other thing is that I actually think I want to write more of an epilogue. And actually, it's not even an epilogue, just more chapters at the end, just more of an ending. In thriller, there is kind of this convention I've noticed that thrillers end a little abruptly because most thrillers, like the resolution of the book is resolving the crime, not necessarily like making sure that the character is okay at the end. Like a lot of thrillers will end, there'll be a big battle, like we're in a fantasy, like a big like a shootout or attempted murder, or like we kill the bad guy and we bury the body in the dumpster, you know, like something dramatic. Like the next chapter will be like 10 years later, I look outside at the beautiful garden blooming. Nobody needs to know what's buried under those petunias, you know, like it'll be that sort of a vibe at the end. I am not doing that because that actually annoys me a lot. That's how the book is right now. There's like a cute little epilogue at the end, but it's very abrupt. And I realized one of my favorite types of scenes is like people recovering after something traumatic. I was reading this series this morning. It's called The Rivaled Crown. It's part of the Veiled Kingdom series by Holly Renee. And there was this like really beautiful scene, and it just like really took me by surprise because I read a lot of these fantasy romance books where there's a kidnapping or someone's in a dungeon for 6 months or something, and then they get out and they have like a really nice reunion scene where they like are reunited, and then like the next scene, this is so many books, I'm not even lying. The next scene is the character being like, I need to feel you again. And then they like do the nasty right there. And I'm like, listen, you just went through like 6 months of trauma. Like I feel like we could maybe, but I'm so used to that. Like there will maybe be like a little scene right before that where it's like, I look at my bruise and I'm sad, you know, like maybe a little bit of that, but like this. And so I was going into the scene expecting that, but instead it was just like this really beautiful, tender scene of like caretaking, and I was just like emotional about it. That's what I read right when I woke up this morning. It inspired me. Holly Jackson is the worst. Very amazing books. The worst at reuniting people and like having them like have a human moment. No, nobody ever hugs at the end of these books, and it makes me so mad. Don't get me wrong, there's definitely a reunion at the end of this book, but I think I could like do a little vignette at the end. I love a vignette at the end of a book. I'm gonna go for it. A lot of romance books do this, where it's like a little vignette that takes you into the future, and sometimes thrillers do too, but so I haven't written any of it, so that's gonna be draft 1. Good gracious. We are far from that. We are still 50 pages from that, so I'm on chapter 40. Actually, I think I'm on chapter 42, technically, in the book now. So I need to write something like that, but that probably will not be in this video. I'm just gonna line edit to the end, then I'm gonna write that vignette, and then I'm gonna go from Act 2, Part 2 to the end again. I'm actually never gonna be done with this book, if you were wondering. Okay, let's get going. We've already been talking for 7 minutes. Let's time to
Reach out. try to burn me down, but my spirit just refine like a phoenix from the ash. Find my strength from within. I am stronger than before. I know, let it go. Rise, rise, home, I'll carry you in my heart. Hand in hand, I'll build again.
That is such a psycho thing to write.
One tells you always, my heart will break and expand.
No. No. Stop. You can't write that.
Before I know, let it go. Rise, 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 rise.
Hi. Do you hear it? Do you hear it in my voice that I'm getting sick? I blame, you know who I blame. You know who you are. Anyway, ooh. I've edited, I would say three chapters since I've last seen you. I'm now on page 183 out of 223. 40 pages left, right? Getting through it. I had a little writing session with Brielle, Caitlin, Andy. That's the end of the list today, which was so fun. I've literally been in this room all day because I worked from home. And I was clocked in to work today. I mean, I always am. But I just like finished a bunch of projects today that I've been working on for a long time, which was nice. The unfortunate news is that my coffee shop is closed in 13 minutes, so I won't be able to go there, but I'm debating betraying my coffee shop and going to a different one to do some more editing just because I've been in this house all day. Or I could go shopping. What would I go shopping for? I need nothing. I've also made significant progress on my puzzle. I will show you, maybe I won't. You'll just have to wait and see. I started reading a historical romance, a Regency romance. If you like Regency romance, you should follow Meredith, which I don't know why you're not following Meredith already. You probably are. She writes, is that a spider? Oh, it's a dead spider. What is a book I don't care about that much? Okay, it's dead. Sorry, Allie. Well, now it's kind of just smushed and dead on the ceiling. It's fine. I don't know how it got in here. It seems rude. I started reading, it's by Sarah Adams. It's called To Con a Gentleman, and I am hooked, lined and sinkered. It's giving like, or it's not giving, it just is. This girl, like she's a street urchin and she makes her living by conning people, but only people who deserve it, you know, like the rakes, like the rich rakes in the town. She doesn't have any family except for this old guy, and this is her livelihood. This is what she wants to do. She doesn't want a family. And her next job is, there's this brutish rake who knocked up a maid and fell her down from her station, so she's gonna pretend to be the maid to get money out of this rake. And she shows up. We also get the rake's POV. This is just the setup of the book. But the rake, she goes to the wrong house essentially, and he like goes with it. He's like, this sounds fun, because he's avoiding his own personal past that he doesn't want to think about. So he's like, I'll mess with this girl who's trying to con me. Or conning this other person. He ends up taking her to a week, like he's on his way to his family's house. That's all I've gotten to so far. But it's Sarah Adams who wrote When in Rome and that whole series, I think. Sorry if it's not. It feels like it is. Like the writing, it's not similar, it's different style, but like thematically the book feels very similar. Like certain types of scenes are in it that feel very familiar. Anyway, I'm really enjoying that. The writing is also going well. We are in the thick of it, and it is good. That last scene I just edited, it was fine. It wasn't like major edits because remember how I've been saying like Act 3 should be better? It is significantly better. There's still line edits to do though, and honestly some scenes where I'm like, I just don't know if there's enough description. And not even description, just like interiority and description. That last scene specifically was new in October, like brand spanking new in October. And it does all of the work of, well, this is, I guess not, but like the whole twist of the book. When we peel back the layer and figure out what's going on, all of that is explained in this book. And we also introduce 2 new characters. It's just like a lot. It's just like a lot. Well, we don't, like we knew about them, but we're seeing them on the page. But it's feeling much better. Again, I'll say it once, I'll say it 100 times. I will be going back through all of the second half. Before I give this to anybody, but I think that'll be quicker. That'll be like, I won't print it all out. I'll just like read it and edit it and probably do that in one day. We're jumping ahead, but now on chapter 42. 42 and 43 are basically the same, are basically one chapter, but I put a chapter break in the middle because I wanted to be dramatic. Girl, end 44? Oh, sorry, I'm reading ahead. Questionable. But I for sure want to do these 3 chapters. When I say 3 chapters, that's going to sound super impressive. It's really the length of one. Honestly, maybe the rest of this book is fine. No, there's something I'm forgetting. What am I forgetting? Yes, okay, sorry. In my head, there's this running list of things that I need to remember to put into the book. And usually as they come up, I'm like, oh yeah. A really basic example is in the scene where they go, there's a scene where he needs to write his phone number on a list. And I never wrote that I think it's maybe on that whiteboard or something, but like that's just something I was in my head. I was like, oh yeah, I'm at this scene, I need to add this in. Which is a wild choice to do this based on memory, but it's also, as you read, like things come to you. I think I had a comment in my last video asking about like, how do I know what edits I'm doing as I go? Like, how do I know if I need to do heavier editing? I think that's what the question was. Is that the last day of winter today? Sorry. I think it is. Anyway, but the answer is so annoying and that it's very intuitive at this stage. In earlier revisions, I have a big, giant running list and I break it down by chapter. Like first I identify all the problems and then I break it down like, where do I fix that? What chapter does that go in? What new scene needs to happen? And so I have a giant checklist that's chapter by chapter that I go through. This round, less than 10 things, truly. Where it's like, oh yeah, I gotta fix that when I come to it. I'm reading it more as a reader and as a line editor, but thinking about, as the reader, what do I need more of? And I also know, like, do I get that in the next scene? But most of the time I'm thinking like, would I be satisfied with this scene as a reader? Would I be satisfied with this trajectory? Because I have a lot of expectations when I read, especially certain types of books. Like this is a fake dating book. And if I was reading a fake dating book, this is what I keep thinking. Like I'm editing the scene and I'm like, if I was reading this in a fake dating book, like I would want this to happen. Not even this to happen, but this interiority to happen. Like them to think these things, like them to have this be the center, you know? And so reading it this way, I just have like, what does a reader want? Like what does the story need? That's the attitude, the disposition I have towards the story at this point. And so, yeah. And this is not, I don't recommend this. It works. This late stage of editing, I think everybody does differently because at this point, I'm literally just going to read the book over and over and over and over again and make small edits. And it's like, it just becomes less and less edits each time. Is it another bug? These stupid bugs. Some people take a really long time with each chapter. I cannot do it. It drives me insane. I can't read the story for what it is. My camera's going to die. That's why I'm talking so fast. But I see some people and they spend like a week on one chapter and I'm like, I just can't do it until that chapter's perfect. So my strategy instead is just to go through the whole book so many times that it's like the same, technically I'll spend the same amount of time. I am focusing on each sentence and each word in each chapter, but like really I need to be seeing the book as a whole. And I think the way to do that is to read it. Am I gonna go to a coffee shop? I don't know. I think so. Maybe I'll step outside, feel the wind on my face. I need to get out of this house though, or I will go insane. Hello. This is beautiful lighting, or maybe my skin is just glowing. It's 5:11 p.m. and I am almost done with this stinking book. I am on chapter, it doesn't matter. I'm on page 201 out of 223. So we are 23 pages from the end, but not really, because pages 191 through 201, I've done here, but not here on the computer. Are you shaking? Don't shake. It's all gonna be okay. Wow, I said, what is the most terrible possible thing I could do to these people, and did it. I was sitting in that coffee shop and I was like, since I wrote this, oh my gosh, it got dark there for a minute. I always worry when I get to these scenes, especially this late in the process, that I'm skipping through, because as I'm reading the ending, like everything's moving really fast. Am I just reading fast because it's just like it's like a faster paced part of the book? Things are like, oh, it's stressful and tension, and like you read faster just like because people read faster at the end of books? Or am I reading it fast because it's not developed enough? I think it's the former. I'm still fleshing out just a little bit. I'm just adding just a little bit, just sentence here and there. I used to say that I was an overwriter, and I don't know where that woman went, because I am an underwriter. I'm realizing I have a lot of, I think the term is prepositional phrases. Correct me if I'm wrong. But things like, to make matters worse, or it seems that, or a lot of like already, or seems to, or maybe, or like just a lot of words that I think when I'm writing them, I use them because I dictate, like that's how I write my first drafts. And I think I just use those words a lot. And I think it's pretty natural. Even the way I talk, it's like, I think that, I think that, I think that, I think no. And so in some circumstances, it's fine to use preposition. I didn't cut all my prepositional phrases, but especially in this ending, there's a lot of just sentences where there's too many words in them. Like they can just be condensed. And sometimes I get nervous about cutting those down because I don't want my book to feel like a bunch of really simple sentences. I like having a sentence variety. But I do. That's the thing. I do have a sentence variety without having to like bloat the sentence with like words that make it trickier to read. My rule in editing is always clarity is king. If it's a super artsy line but nobody knows what it means, cut it or rearrange it or shift it around so that it does make sense. It's such a weird balance. Like taking a lot of editing like a lot of books for me to have a good sense. Is this cut good? Or does it make the book weaker or stronger? Does it make the sentence weaker or stronger? Like it's taken, this is the 4th book I've edited now. Good Lord. 3rd book I've edited in this way now. It is so difficult if you have not edited before to like, is it okay that I have a lot of words in the sentence because that's the tone of the book? Is this taking away or adding clarity? Is this sentence necessary? What does the sentence do? If I take the sentence out, is it going to make people confused? Because you understand, like you as the writer, understand what the paragraph is all about. And so sometimes it's difficult to tell. Like sometimes I cut back too much and then somebody reads the scene and they're like, wait, what's going on? But then sometimes I add in too much and then it's like, we're missing the point of the sentence. We're missing the point of the paragraph because there's too many sentences in it. And it's such like I would hate when people said this in writing vlogs when I was watching them and I didn't know this yet. But like, it's such an intuitive thing and it's really, really hard. And that's why my pro tip, don't try to spend like 17 hours on one chapter and try to like cross off a chapter. My recommendation is to go through go through a section and edit and go with your gut, see what you think, and then edit the section again. And then edit the section again, because then as you read it, this is what works for me anyway. Then I can start to realize, actually, I do want that sentence back. Actually, I do want something else here. And if it's supposed to be gone, you don't miss it. So if you feel like you're not super confident in editing in that way of knowing, is this okay to cut? Am I cutting too much? Am I adding too much? Do what your gut says and then read it again and then read it again and then read it again, but not all in a row. Read it within the context of the rest of the book over and over again. So like, I'm not just reading chapter 45 17 times in a row to get it right. I'm reading chapters 30 through 50 in a row to get the flow of the book, and then I read it again. Because if you read a chapter over and over and over again, your edits are too close, so you remember that you cut a sentence. Whereas if you edit the chapter and then come back to it a week later, you won't remember the edits that you made, but you will be able to tell like if something's missing. So that's my pro tip that probably won't work for anyone else but me. Anyway, I'm going to implement these edits onto the page. I'm gonna see how long that takes. Probably gonna take a good hour, honestly, because it's like 10 pages. Actually, it's 9 because I ran into this page. Page 198, it was the easiest chapter to edit, the easiest page to edit, because it has nothing on it. So I'm gonna do more line editing tonight, but I might not get all the way to the end. I also am gonna write another chapter. Just another scene. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. I'm just gonna write one more scene. I went to Adoration this afternoon, and this scene really came to me, and I was like, is this a vision? No, maybe. It was just like a cutesy little like epilogue montage-y scene that like, I was like, oh, this is so cute. I'm gonna write it because we need some joy at the end of this book, especially after this chapter of horrors. Oh my lord, I was reading, I was like, girl, am I just like such a good writer? I surprised myself with this story. Stop. Anyway, let's get into it, okay?
Worries come dressed as night to plunder dreams and whispered out to the scattered light reflects your mind, splinters facts from fictions. It's dark outside, it's cold in here, there's nothing left but all your fears. You're falling like the moon falls in the sky.
Okay, hey, me again. I've dressed down for the evening. This is how much we have left. Look at that. That's nothing. Let's compare it again. This is my favorite game. Compare it to the rest of the book. We're so close. Please. This is ridiculous. Are you kidding? What did I tell you? Transposing this onto this is my nightmare. It's actually not my nightmare. It's fine. It's just like so tedious. It's the exact kind of tedious that transposing or transcribing dictation is when you take dictation from a giant chunk into like a sentence. And I remember last year I didn't format my dictation at all, and like did a whole draft of just formatting dictation, and it was terrible. It was horrible. Please don't ever do that to yourself. Please. I still prefer to write this on paper because for some reason it's so good for my creativity. There's probably some sort of science behind that, but on the page it's so much clearer to me, like, oh, this sentence, I need to write this little sentence, and even like adding things on or tucking sentences into paragraphs, like it's so like it just like comes out of me. I don't know, it's like is on the page. So I'm fine to like do the tedious work of transposing it onto the page. Close. I'm on page 203, baby. 203 out of 223. 20 pages. It's only 7 o'clock, but I don't want to rush. I'm gonna eat this pizza and then I'm going to continue to work on this. I probably actually am not gonna finish tonight unless I really feel, but it's Friday night, like I could stay up late and do it, you guys. But I don't want to rush through Act 3. Remember earlier when I said every time I've gone through Act 3 I've done it all in one day? But not the last time I spent like a whole month on Act 3, so I know it is better. But it won't even, the tea is when they get to the end of this pages, it's not even gonna be the end because I'm writing another little scene to go at the end. But I would kind of love to do is finish this book tonight and then finish this edit, and then in the morning write that new scene, and then do a whole read through of the second half of the book again. Then, because then I can like edit through that last scene within the context of all that has come before, you know? I really have been feeling so good about this whole draft, about all of these edits. Like I genuinely feel like there's not a chapter I rushed through. Although I don't really recall, there's like Act 2 Part 1, I think I was editing while struggling up here. And so those are the only chapters where I'm a little like, but I honestly though, when I was really struggling, I wasn't writing at all. So I don't want to like rush rush through the ending because that is my worst nightmare. No, not my worst nightmare. I just have this like irrational fear that I can't end a book well. And maybe it's rational, but it's not, no. I have the whole weekend, and it would be so nice if at the end of this weekend I could send this book to to the paid beta reader, to 2 other readers, and print it, order a print copy off of Barnes & Noble. If I could be done with this weekend. But honestly though, 10 pages does take me half an hour. Actually, no, it takes an hour because it's an hour on the page and then it's half an hour for 10 pages on the page and then half an hour in the document. So it would be like a full 2 hours. So maybe I'll get through the, until the epilogue. And then I'll do the whole epilogue tomorrow, including writing the new scene. But okay. I'm kind of thinking, what if I read through the whole book instead of just the second half? Would you be mad? No, I don't need to. Why is my Domino's taking so long? You said 10 to 25 minutes, 40 minutes ago. I don't even get pizza. I get like cheesy bread and cinnamon twists. And I don't do it every day. And what if I did? But I'm gonna take a break when I get the pizza, and then I'm gonna write for as long as I feel I have energy. I'm not gonna push it because I have all weekend. I will finish it tomorrow. And then I'll read through the second half, and then also the first half, and then edit the first page, and then enter a first page contest, and then beta read for 2 books that I've been ignoring. And I'm sorry if you are watching this and I said I would read your book and I didn't. I'm literally going to. I just need to finish my book first. Anyway.
Clear the table, cut the grass, doing all I can of the necessary. Clean the attic, stay afloat, try as hard as I can not to fall off the boat.
208, everybody. 208.
Can I do? What can I say? Hope that we find something new.
Oh, Danny. Oh no. Oh no, don't say that. Please. Oh, Cal, don't say that. Oh, just stab me in the heart. Stop. 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 I'm not well. I fear I ate. Oh, Soleil, banger. This is so sad. Wow. Stop. Stop. Why do you hurt me? I live. If I say in her eyes one more time, somebody take this computer away. Okay, everyone. I can feel myself slipping a little bit, so I'm gonna pause for today. I'm not even gonna input it into the document because frankly I am tired. So I did also realize that I did like 40 pages or something today, so I probably should take a break. I'm on page 212 out of 222. So when I wake up, I should be able to just, you know, crank that soldier boy, as one might say. Honestly, probably read through those chapters again too, in case I want to add. I think I might want to add a little bit of, like right here, the reason I'm stopping is because I know in my heart of hearts that it needs more setting description, and I just do not have the will to describe a chair. So I will in the morning though. I'm so freaking close. I'll see you in the morning. Goodbye. Good morning. Today's the day, allegedly. There's no way I'm not gonna at least finish the line edit. I have 10 pages left. I don't even think I have anything. Ooh, the sun. I think I'm probably gonna reread some of the chapters that I edited, or some of the pages I edited yesterday, just to make sure they're good. It's so funny. I feel like if you watch these line editing videos, you think I'm like a super perfectionist, detail-oriented writer, but I'm not, and that's why this edit is taking long, in my opinion, for me, and why it's so painstaking is because it takes a lot of effort for me to like actively notice details and nitpicky things and like word choices, and that sort of thing is not my forte. So you might be thinking like, wow, Alyssa's, she's so detail oriented. She's thinking about every word. Yeah, and it's work. It's exhausting. I just want to yearn and have people kiss and be sad and happy and like have a plot twist. Like, I don't want to do all this. But actually, now that I kind of know what I'm looking for and how to find it, it is so much more fun because I can see it getting better. Let me tell you what my vice is. I gotta see if I have one of these. I'll just pick up a random page. I bet I do a lot of, like, instead of, you don't ever need to say like, my hands touch her face. You can just say, I touch her face, right? Or if you, like, you don't need to, even further than that, you don't need to say, I see, because if you're in first person, it's implied. So instead of saying, I watch the car get closer, the car gets closer. You know, like instead of, I feel the heat of his gaze, you can change that around to, this is what's tricky though, because then it's like, what if I say then? Then it's like, the heat of his gaze hits me, or there's heat in his gaze, or I don't know what this example is. There's not really heat in his gaze. There's actually a lot of cold in his gaze. Or I do a lot of like, at his words, at the knowledge of what's to happen, at the moment, in the moment. And it's like, girl, we already know we're in the moment because we're reading the book. Like, you don't need to say, I'm struggling with the flow of a scene. I think sometimes my inclination is to add in like, as we walk down the street, as I look to the corner, when we emerge. And it's not that I'm cutting every single one of those, but I just have a lot of them. Yeah, but it's kind of a balance because I have a pet peeve when I read like action sequence. Is that another spider? Or is that the dead one I killed? Anyway, it's the dead one. It's fine. I get caught up in logistics sometimes when I'm reading a book. Like, for just a general example, if somebody's getting kidnapped in a book and they're kidnapped for like 3 weeks and they never mention how they're going to the bathroom and they're like they're tied to a chair for 3 weeks and nobody ever brings up that you haven't peed, I'm like, where did you pee? Where did you pee? Sorry, this is really gross, but like that's the kind of logistic I'm like. Or if somebody this is a lot of thriller logistics, and that isn't even the case in this book. Maybe, I don't know. Like if somebody has like somebody in a chokehold and they're also like doing things with 2 hands, I'm like, girl, how are you doing that? How are you doing that? Because I like to, especially scenes where I'm like a reunion scene or something and somebody's like tied to a tree, but they're hugging someone. I'm like, how are you hugging someone if you're tied to a tree? You at least need to like explain how the arm got free. I feel like a lot of scenes I read in romantasy books, people have 3 hands and they don't actually, but it's like one hand's cupping my face, and one hand is cutting me free and the other hand is rubbing a circle around my thumb, and I'm like, girl, where was the 3rd hand? Like, you don't have 3 of them. But then I think sometimes I fall into a trap where I'm like, as my right hand emerges, my left hand does this other thing, and it's like, we don't care. We don't care. So it's a mix. Also, if you want to see the state I left my writing in last night, don't read that. Also, I started a new puzzle. I'm gonna go to the coffee shop and I'm gonna bring my computer just in case I feel like actually finishing it, but what I'm kind of guessing is that I will finish the line edit and then be like, I'm done, slay. When in fact I do still need to implement it all into the document. But maybe my plan could be, if I want to keep going, I could write oh my gosh. I have one more scene I want to add in, and it's like a little like cutesy, like ooh, at the end, like ooh kind of scene. And it just kind of ties up some bows, because again, I didn't even wrap the package at the end. It's in a box, but it's not wrapped, you know? Or it has like, it's like when you run out of wrapping paper and you like grab newspaper and you're like, it's because you like to read that I wrapped it in newspaper. No, it's because I didn't have wrapping paper. So I'm gonna make some, I don't know. So we're gonna finish the line edit, and then I'm potentially going to write the new scene, just like a first, like maybe even like an outline-y sort of draft of it, and then come back here and do all the implement all the, you know what I mean? And then hopefully I'm sure that will be mid-afternoon. And then I'm gonna see how I feel, and maybe we will read the whole book. I just want to query now. Meredith, if you don't follow Meredith and you're querying, literally run. Literally don't walk. Literally end this video and go watch all of her videos. Specifically, she just posted this video today where she has this like query spreadsheet thing, and you're so smart, Meredith. I don't understand. Meredith has a lot of strategy. She's like, ooh, I'm gonna rank the agents. I'm gonna look at all this stuff. And my strategy is I look, what is an agent? Who is that? Let me click. They look good. I'll submit. It's bad. It's not a good strategy. But it's working. But like, it could probably be working better anyway. But I'm like, I want to write a synopsis. I want to write a query letter. I don't actually, but I want to be doing that. You know, like I want to be in it. But I will not query this book before it's ready. I'm worried I'm going to, but I'm not going to. Okay, let's go to the coffee shop. Let's go, you and me together. I come bearing tragic news, which is that I forgot my headphones. But I'm still ready to walk in the pocket.
If I'm the one you want, should I go, or should I leave this on? Because lately I've been getting this feeling that you might like me too, and just maybe I could take a little risk for you.
Truly, what a coffee shop session to not have headphones. Good Lord, it's like 12:30. I finished. It took 3 hours, which doesn't seem like it's that long. I felt like I lived a life in that coffee shop. So I didn't have my headphones, which was fine. But first there was this really loud conversation happening about there needing to be CPR dummies that have boobs. I'm sure that's true. I don't know. So loud. I was fine. I was using my easy readers, which did look insane and then I was facing the door, so it really did look like I was staring at anyone who walked through the door, but it really did help me focus in though, in sort of a way that headphones do. Anyway, I was fine with that. I did like really fully re-edit or like add more edits to the pages I did last night, so I ended up doing all 23 pages rather than just the 10 that I had nothing on. Then this couple was meeting with their caterer for their wedding 1 table away from me. 1 table away. They talked for an hour and a half. And I'm like in the I was sort of, I don't know. I'm a wedding DJ, if you didn't know. Not full time, just like kind of vibing, but I used to do it a lot. And so I'm like, I have a lot of opinions. And oh my gosh, this was one of those couples. Because part of me was like, maybe I'll like offer my DJ stuff. No. One of those couples where the caterer lady was like, oh, do you want ranch? And then the bride went on this like 2-minute rant about like, well, you know, I'm not really as the bride supposed to have like ranch or ketchup because I don't want to spill on my dress. And I'm like, it's not about you. Everyone else at the wedding needs to eat. Or like they would say, oh, is there anyone vegetarian? Like, do we need any vegetarian meals? And she was like, you know, my one great aunt, Kathy, was vegetarian when I was a kid. And I went over there and we had like no meat. And then she does like a whole story about her aunt Kathy. And I'm like, girl, as a wedding vendor, I was like stressed on behalf of this woman. And we have cake and cupcakes. Like, do we not want another dessert? And then the bride was like, well, if I ate another dessert besides the cake, I think I would explode. And then the groom was like, yeah, but other people might want, and they were both, everyone in that conversation was just a little socially awkward. So that was like an hour and a half. And I was editing through this. Then this guy, he was like a writer in a coffee shop, if you know what I mean. Like he was like, had like a trench coat and he had a briefcase, and he walked in and he like sat sort of a couple tables away from me in the back section, and he pulls out a free write, which is like one of those where you only see a little bit of the screen and it's like not a computer. And I was like, I feel like fiction writers are the only, like people who write a lot are the only people who have those. And so for some reason, like, is that like an alpha free write? And he was like, yeah. And then we had this whole conversation about writing, and he's one of those people who's like, I just like write where the wind blows me, you know, like that's a weird thing to say. Like, I don't really like character focused. Like I write literary fiction, and I just, you know, when an idea comes to me, I just write it down, and I'm like, I live. And then he talked about Shakespeare. He was like, yeah, because I was asking him like, oh, what do you write? Like, are you writing fiction? He's like, yeah. And so I was like, yeah, I'm writing, my thriller, robbery, murder books. I prefer to write more literary, like, I'm not interested in a book with plot. And I was like, okay, you wouldn't like my book very much, I'm sure, my fake dating bank robbery book. And then he said, like, right at the beginning, he was like, yeah, and like those people who say that they're just a writer, but they've written like 6 books, like, I'm not like one of those. And I was like, this is awkward. It was just like a very like, what is happening right now? But then we talked about craft a little bit. Like, oh yeah, happy writing, like whatever. I mean, he seemed very nice. And here I am in my like blue sweatpants suit and like no makeup, lots of acne, just like, hey, like, as he was packed up in his, in his like saddlebag, and he was like, maybe I'll see you around sometime. And I was like, sure. I was like, yeah, I'm at this coffee shop literally every day of my life. And he's like, yeah, I sometimes write in he was very much like a writer in a coffee shop kind of guy. Like, it was a moment. If you're out there trying to meet people, because I won't just like walk up to a rando, but I noticed he had that free write, and I was like, people are down to have a conversation. It's the moral of the story. Is like, I just had this lovely conversation about writing, and then I thought maybe I was weird for just talking to him, but then he started the conversation up again. Anyway, then I spent another like 45 minutes finishing this darn edit, and then I was listening to the ladies at the coffee who make the coffee, and they were talking about like regulars who come in, and I kept waiting for them to be like that crazy girl in matching loungewear with her weird glasses writing book. But I think they knew I was there though. But they were talking about like, oh, there's this girl that always comes in and she orders like a mocha frappe latte, and her boyfriend always pays, and she like never says hi, and she just like walks right up and like orders, and like spilling all this tea about all the people, all the regulars. And I was like, I am seated, and somehow I was editing this entire time. But now I am, my brain, and now I have 23 pages to implement into the document. Barf. So I'm gonna eat lunch, and then I'm gonna film a video, I think. I really do want to finish this today, and I totally will. I might even still. There is a scene in the midpoint that I actually do need to go into, and like, I know I need to add a few sentences here and there, so I'm gonna go and do that one, and then maybe tomorrow I'll do the read through. It is 7:41 p.m. I have still 8 pages left to implement into this document. It's actually gonna take me out. I just really am appreciating when I accidentally like don't have a space between 2 words, and the Google Docs spelling thing, I click on it to put a space, and it's like, hey, like, what the heck is this word? Like, are you dumb? And I just feel like that is all of us, I'm sufficiently losing my mind. Why did I ever possibly think I would have time to do this and write a whole nother scene and read through the whole book? I only have 8 pages left, and it's like, I don't need brain energy for this. I just need to transpose what's on here. So I'm going to finish this tonight, and then tomorrow we will write the new scene. I was like, I gotta make sure I film when I do the last page, but the tea is I still am gonna go back and edit the midpoint before and do the whole read, So like, do you need to see me typing in this terrible lighting? Here. Is that what you wanted? I guess I did work for 3 hours at the coffee shop, and about 3 hours on that YouTube video. And also I've been doing this for 2 hours now. So maybe I need to chill, but I will be ordering a cookie when I finish this draft, because I always do that. And I think I'm going to do it when I get to the end of the line edit, because that feels like when I actually write the end, So I'm not going to wait till I write that whole other scene. Like, I'm gonna get this cookie tonight. Rest assured, this line edit has been so good, so transformative, but also kind of a rough time for me. And I deserve that cookie. Do I need it given what I've eaten today? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm so tired. These 8 pages are actually gonna destroy me. But I don't want them to be bad. So I'm probably tomorrow gonna edit through them again. I'm literally about to give it to another round of beta readers. Like, they're gonna have things for me to fix. I'm hoping not major things, because I'm not going to change the book at this point. I will fix things if there's problems. That could be a bigger fix than I think. But like if someone's like, oh, like I can't picture there being an edit where I would have to like majorly change something. This is the book now, and this beta read is just to make sure it all makes sense and comes together well, you know? Whew, I have 1 minute left on this SD card. This video is gonna be long. You're so welcome. So I finished the book, and also I went back and I was just gonna like take a little peek on that scene at the midpoint, and I think I fixed what I wanted to fix. That's exciting. I thought it would take more than that. Even just reading as I was skimming through to find that scene, I was like, okay, it's feeling pretty good. Let me tell you, those last few pages was a struggle. Not a struggle to do the edits, a struggle mentally to do it, because I just did not want to do it. It's really starting to get to a point, now I've been line editing for 3 months, where I'm so sick of sentences. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sick of trying to look at a sentence and decide, does it have too many words? Like, I'm just like sick of like seeing sentences that have too many words and having to decide how to shorten it, or if I want to the decision fatigue with line editing is so crazy, because every line you have to make a decision. Every word you have to make a decision. And I'm gonna eat this cookie and I'm gonna go to bed. And then tomorrow I'm gonna write that ending scene, skim through, and send it off. And then I'll be done. Done. Not done. Done with this round, and then I'll send it to beta readers, and then they'll tell me that it's great, and then I'll submit it, and then I'll get a book deal and an agent and a 6-figure book deal, and I'll quit my job, and it'll be great. So yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Everyone, terrible news. Look outside, you guys. Meredith will be happy. Snow. We haven't had snow on the ground in like a month. It's been like 50 and 60. R.I.P. to me. R.I.P. I think I finished the epilogue. It was wild, actually. I wrote 2 chapters. It doesn't say like epilogue, you know, it's just like the last 2 chapters of the book. And I really had a really fun time writing them. Like, I listened to this playlist. Back in the day when I was really artsy, I would make playlists for each character. Now I just do them for each book, but I also have playlists for different like circumstances, like battle or being happy, you know. And I pulled up the playlist for the main male character from my book I wrote in college, and he's just a sweetie pie, that man. And all the songs in that playlist are so like, oh, we're in love and we're happy and we're happy and everything's gonna be okay and like we're healing and we're on a journey, you know. I also listened to that playlist when I wrote this other scene that I was adding that was like not a romance as in like a romance, but a romance and like a romance scene. That made no sense. I kind of just wrote straight through. So it's 1 chapter in her POV and 1 chapter in his, and I like how I tied things up. It was a little bit of a full circle moment from the beginning of the book, and it tied up some things of like where each character is, and like there were a few characters who just like kind of disappeared, and so getting some closure on them. And yeah, I think I'm gonna read through the whole book. And when I say read through, I do mean skim through, but maybe read. I'm nervous about it, but I just want to do 1 quick read through, and then I'll format it and get it ordered on a print, like a proof copy, print copy, personal print copy. Proof copy is something else. Oh, this is wild. Hi. So it's Monday morning now, and the plot twist of the century is that I have not read through the book yet. I forgot that I think that this is the scariest thing for me to do. Let me know if you relate out there of the idea of going to the beginning of the document on page 1 and reading it is like actually making me break out in hives. I think especially because I just did It's not actually making me very good at knives. Especially coming off of this like huge, like 3-month intense edit of the book, where at this point the book should be good, and people have told me that it is, but they might be lying, but they're probably not. I for the life of me I cannot do it. I tried. I really did try. I sat there and I just kept looking at other things on my computer. But I'm gonna try today to read it, to just read it. I'm so worried that it's not gonna come together, or that I'm gonna come across a chapter that needs a major overhaul, or that the plot is just not gonna work. I've really been going back and forth about what I want to do right now because I'm like, maybe I just shouldn't even read it and trust that it's good and give it to people. But then I just remember I don't want to give it to this paid beta reader before, like, if I know that there's something I can still fix. Other than like copy edits. Like I need to know that it's actually done, you know? For me, right now, like done with this draft, which means everything makes sense and there's nothing that needs to be fleshed out and there's nothing that needs to be condensed and there's nothing that doesn't, like, that's where I want this book to be before I send it. And I know I need to read it to know if that's the case. And I just don't want to. And I'm afraid it's gonna take a long time. Because I know if I come across something that's bad, I'm gonna fix it. Like, and also the first chapter I want to tinker with so badly. I so badly want to fix it. And not even fix because it's not broken, but like I want to mess with it a little bit. But I have to remember I do a lot of messing with the first 5 or first 10 when I get into actually query prepping. So yeah, I'm just like really not wanting to read it. I'm really gonna try though. This is my little protein drink. You know how they have protein powder that people put in smoothies? Now they have this protein powder that it just goes in water and it's like a little like, it's like a Crystal Light packet. So it's just like a blue raspberry little drink, but it's 20 or 30 grams of protein or something. I don't know. Tastes pretty good to me. I really need to go to work now. Okay, I'll see you soon. Hi, good morning. Oh. Is it gonna make it better or worse? Let's guess. It's fine. Okay, hi. So yesterday I actually ended up reading one of my friends, doing some beta reading, and I think it was very helpful. So I read her whole book yesterday and chatted with her about that, and I think that was good, a good call, so I could take a little break. I mean, it's like a 1-day break, but it's like I fully read and thought about a different story. It actually kind of stressed me out because it was like really good. Which was good. It was. It just made me a little like, what if mine doesn't read that good? That's just where my brain is right now. I am going to today, this morning, on my lunch this evening, read through mine. Listen. Okay, so there's some things I learned about line editing about halfway through line editing. So I'm not gonna fix every single one of these things right now because I'm gonna do another copy edit later, but if there's a lot of obvious things, I'm going to just make little adjustments here and there if it's a quick fix. If it takes more than 3 seconds, I'm not doing it, okay? Because I don't want to lose the flow of the story either. All right, it's like an hour later and I only got through 20 pages. Oops. That makes it sound like it's not going well. I think it is. I think it's good. But always the first 10, I'm very locked in, clocked in. But also I'm gonna be that for the rest of the book too. I don't even know if that's accurate that I only did 20 pages in 1 hour because I really did spend a long time just on page 1, but then now that I've gotten into it, I am slipping into more of a reader. Like the thing that I learned is about like dialogue and action tags, like how you don't need both. And so that's really the only edit I'm making. It is reading well. It is so far. I mean, we're only 20 pages in. Hi! So I'm on chapter 8, which doesn't seem very far in, but there's only 50 chapters in the book. So I'm like a decent way in. Also, there's no outlets available. Super busy. There was science fiction trivia going on. And I was editing on my phone because my computer was dead. And actually, I think that was for the best. I think I'm gonna do this whole read through on my phone. It's like seeing it in a different way, and I read a lot on my phone, so it's kind of tricking my brain into that reading space. I am doing quite a bit of copy editing. I think that's why it's taking a little bit longer. But it is good. I am really happy with how it's reading so far. I can feel when I'm being taken out of the story, and that's an indicator to me that the story's pulling me in despite me having edited it a million times. But I'm really glad I'm through that opening because I was a little worried because the opening's pretty new. I wrote it fresh in December or January, and I did a few passes of it, but it really reads really nicely. It feels like I'm reading a book. Like I've been working with the people on Fiverr for the paid beta, and I think it's like we're at the stage where they're like, hey, send it over, and I'm like, ugh. And actually I think I'd be fine sending it over right now, but I just feel better just reading it. And I'm kind of reading it like I'm afraid to scroll. I'm like, is it gonna be bad? Is it gonna be bad? But then it's like, no, it's like actually good. Who would have thought? I know it seems like I have this attitude of like exhaustion, and that's not because I don't think the book is good. It's because I want the book to be so good. And I think it's almost there. I'll let you know when I finish. I keep saying that and then I keep talking to you anyway. Hey, okay, I did finish the book. It doesn't ever actually feel like I did though. I read through really in-depthly the first 3/4, I would say. More like 60%. What I was worried about was making sure that the whole thing was cohesive. And I was getting a lot of brain fatigue. Like I just line edited this whole book and then read through and have been copy editing as I go. And so I just kind of got to a point where I know the rest of the book, what happens in the rest of the book, and it works. I don't know. I do still for sure need to do a copy edit. And so I think now that I'm looking for copy edit stuff, it's hard for me to look at the content. I also did a Command F for all of the that's in the book. And I did that sort of so I could skim through the rest of the book, and also like that was something I was noticing a lot, was a lot of that's. And I had like 1,200 that's, and I deleted about 200 of them, which is so many so many. And I realized it's because the way that I write is pretty voicey, and a lot of those that's did not need to be there, but there's something in the way of the voice that there are more that's, and it's hard to explain, so I don't want you to get this idea of like what my writing is based on that. I am deleting most of the that's, but then it's like sometimes when you deleted that, then you need to add like an ing, and then it becomes passive voice, and then it's like, I thought we weren't supposed to use. Anyway, I will be deleting more that's in the future, and I have a list of words and phrases that I'll be Command F'ing, but I realized like, because I had booked the thing for Fiverr, I had been like, yeah, send over the stuff, and she sent over the stuff last night, and so I was like, I really need to send this book over, and I could spend all this time looking for all these crutch words right now, but that's not really the point of me getting the beta read. The point of the beta read was when I was finished with the line edit, which I did finish. Like I finished that over the weekend. So I sent it to the paid beta. I did, and then I sent it to 2 other readers, and then I'm going to tonight still format and upload it to Barnes & Noble Press just to get a personal copy. I think I'm gonna get 3 or 4 personal copies and have a couple other people read them. I gave it to one person who is always very honest with me. I mean, everybody's honest with me, but she's beta read everything I've ever written since I was in high school, and she always knows what to look for. She went to school for publishing and editing. And then I gave it to another reader who is like a hype reader, where she gives me feedback for sure, but she just gets really excited about things, and I just feel like I needed that a little bit. So I was intentional about that. And then I have this paid beta reader, which I intentionally chose this person because in their description they say like, there's not a guarantee that these are gonna be nice comments. And I was like, that's what I need. I need somebody who's gonna be honest with me. Next up on this channel, you might be like, what are we gonna do now? Well, this book is with betas. I have a few people's work that I've been meaning to read. They've sent me stuff and I want to read it. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna write a query letter and a synopsis and start doing agent prep. And I think while I do that, I will start getting back into my fantasy novel. I literally wrote 1 chapter of that. I also have Project Sunshine, which I wrote the first draft of in November. But I don't think I'm gonna jump quite into that yet until I'm done with the query and at least a first draft of the query and synopsis. Like I've been itching to write a little bit of fantasy, something in a totally different genre. That is not what we're talking about. We just finished this book. So thank you so much for being here. I think this video is probably like an hour long. It's like a long video. I appreciate you being here. Drop me a cookie emoji down below and I will see you so soon. Bye.